It's the best part of it. So that takes us to the business at hand and why we're here. And again, I appreciate everyone being here. This is a called meeting of the Home Rule District Charter Commission, appointed by the Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees. And it's being held Saturday, the 13th of September, 2014. And we are beginning at 9 o'clock. It's probably 5 after 9. And the meeting is being held in the auditorium of Bryan High School, located at 2101 Milmar Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75228. And as chair, I want to welcome everybody and call to order. We have established a quorum, but for the purposes of the public record, if I'm going to start on my right, Commissioner Sandell, if you will just say present.
Present.
And give us your name.
Julie Sandell.
Isaac Freeman, present.
Stephanie Elizalde, present.
Benita Reese, present.
Kevin Malonson, present.
Jeff Veazey, present.
Bob Wise, present.
Ron Oliver, present.
Jerome Garza, present. Lou Blackburn, present.
Danae Gutierrez, present.
The quorum has been duly established. Oh, and Mr. Ranger is present. Thank you, Mr. Ranger. We will now, again, have our Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone in the audience would stand. Welcome to our second voyage of public hearings. We began last Saturday, and as chair, I want to welcome everybody and take about a couple of minutes to explain why we're here and what our goal is for this meeting. Every commissioner here has agreed to hold meetings as recommended by the Board of Trustees in each of the districts of their districts to listen to the community and what their concerns are, what their proposals might be to improve the school district. So, frequently asked questions so far. Is there a charter? No. Have we written a charter? No. Are you really going to listen? Yes. Can we do better communicating with you? Yes. Are we going to do this in both English and Spanish? Yes. Are we doing something that's never been done before in the state of Texas? Yes. Do we ask patience as we go through our learning curve? Yes. That's it in a nutshell. So what we are trying to do is listen. That's a good thing, to hear what people have to say about how to improve the Dallas Independent School District. Where this journey will take us, we don't know. There is no predestined end. We do know legally that we time out. We stop existing June 19th, 2015. And we welcome you to be part of this journey. I think we had an excellent first two meetings. We received many, many ideas. And our job's to listen today. And the basic ground rule we have said is 3 minutes. There are question cards, comment cards. We are trying to answer the questions from the first meeting where we really can ground them in fact. And if not, just say exactly what we think can happen. If not, we'll get back to you. We're working hard to have our own website. If you go to the Dallas ISD website, you'll see something, a little small button on the home page. It takes you to our site. You can see who we are. We have contact information. We have a phone number. We're kind of ramping up. You'll see it in English and Spanish now, the basics that we've done. And if you want to know more about me, I turned in my little bio, and you can read all about me if you have nothing else to do. So our next full commission meeting is the 22nd. So what we have agreed to do, where people of September, where commissioners want to, in their district, run the meeting, we have agreed as a procedural matter to let that happen. And the commissioner for this district is Jeff Veazey with a Z. I apologize because we've been using an S and a Z. So it really is with a Z. And I want to thank him for taking the chair now. And again, we welcome your participation. If you don't want to speak, turn in a card. If you don't want to turn in a card, send a document in. All ideas are welcome. None are being discarded now. Thank you. Commissioner Vesey.
Thank you. The first thing I wanted to say is welcome to Bryan Adams High School to everyone. If you don't have an opportunity to come here very often, this is a great place, a great feeder pattern, one of the best feeder patterns in Dallas. I'm sorry that unlike the first two meetings, I can't brag about our football team right at this time, but I know they're making progress and they're going to do well in the future. But I want to say that I'm a graduate of Bryan Adams High School, and my mother was a principal in DISD, and my wife is a DISD teacher, and we have two boys. We have three boys, but two of them will have graduated from Bryan Adams by the end of this year, and all three of them attended DISD schools. I really appreciate all of you being here, and I hope that everyone will take the opportunity to speak to us and share your thoughts. And with that, we will start with the first speaker, So you have 3 minutes, and Mr. Harris is here. He has this great app on his iPad that counts down your seconds, and so the first speaker is just step up. Yep.
Just stay here? Great. Thank you. Thank you for your service on the commission. I suspect that this is difficult and tedious work. I'm Norma Menace. My husband, my brother, my sister-in-law, me, and all my cousins are products of DISD, and we all graduated from Bryan Adams. I'm here because someone's child will someday have a great effect on my life. Even persons without children have a stake in ensuring that all children have a good education. You do not have to write a charter proposal. I am very opposed to this so-called home rule. Just as an example, look how disruptive the situation already is. After the petitions were certified, showing barely enough signatures were obtained, what do we have? We're going to have endless meetings, arguments, disruption, leading to more bad publicity for DISD. You do not have to write a charter proposal. And what will we have if you do write a charter proposal? Endless meetings, arguments, and disruption with the possible addition of lawsuits. It could go on for years. And after all's finally settled, what would we have? A school system full of poverty-level children just like today. I would ask that you turn your efforts to elected officials to restore the funding that was cut by the state legislature. Turn your efforts to changing the laws and the rules that are impediments to a progressive education. Listen to people who are working within the system that show positive results. Use the examples of the high-performing schools already in DISD. You have a real opportunity here to shine the light on what an independent school district should be. You do not have to write a charter proposal. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sylvia Demarest. I am a local citizen and taxpayer. This commission is unique in that I do not recall such a diverse group of highly qualified citizen representatives, educators, and business people ever having had the opportunity and the authority to review the delivery of K-12 education in an urban school district and provide recommendations for how to improve both the administration of the district and the educational opportunities of its students. I'm pleased to see that all of you take this task very seriously and that you plan to take the time that's needed to assess the situation, gather data, and provide meaningful recommendations. I urge you to seize this opportunity to further the goal of high-quality public education and make history through your efforts to improve educational achievement. Your primary objective should be assessing the educational environment and how to best help our students to succeed. If your study determines that our students can succeed without becoming a home rule district, there's no need for you to write a charter. Providing your recommendations and seeing that they are implemented would be sufficient. As you know, the DISD is the second largest school district in Texas and the 12th largest in the U.S. 30% of its students are African American and 64% are Hispanic. First, many, if not most, of these students face serious challenges in that they come from low-income homes or homes where English is a second language. Studies clearly show that such students require tremendous support to succeed. One goal of the Commission should be looking into how to better coordinate the various agencies, programs, groups, charities, and volunteers in a unified approach to providing multi-level and consistent support to these children and their families so that they can succeed. Second, not all students can or want to go to college. Another goal of the Commission could be looking into how to expand vocational skills training and coordination and cooperation with local businesses to help more students acquire the skills they need for both gainful employment and success in life. Educational reformers frequently devalue public education and impact of income levels on student achievement, offering instead critiques of teachers and parents in an effort to privatize public education. Studies show that educational achievement is highly correlated to family income and educational levels of parents. Studies also show that students from low income and low education homes can succeed if they are provided sufficient support. Recommending what kind of support and how best to provide it is a task worthy of this Commission. Thank you very much.
Like I need a microphone. Diane Birdwell, Bryan Adams High School teacher, 15 years, taxpayer in the city of Dallas, graduated from Skyline, Mr. Veazey. We won last night. We brought down DeSoto. Anyway, I live at 5705 Meadowick Lane, and I must address something that was brought up by the last speaker at the Hillcrest meeting last week, which was Todd Williams, who is one of the backers of this home rule charter. He keeps saying, as do the SOPS people that started all this, that our hands are tied by the thousands of pages of rules and regulations and laws, both by the state of Texas and by the federal government. And therefore, we need a charter to free us from all this. And he mentioned very slightly, and I hope the teachers on this commission caught it, class size waivers. And I hope the 4 teachers and the husband of a teacher can explain to the rest of y'all what that means. The class size waiver that we have to apply for in Austin is a warning bell. It's saying, oh my God, we've got too many elementary kids and we can't stick to the law of 22-to-1. Now, I'm not a mother, but I cannot imagine a classroom or a house with 30 kids in it. He is basically saying that if you get a home rule charter that eliminates our oversight from the state government, we could put 30 kids, 32 kids, 40 kids in a kindergarten classroom, in a second grade classroom, in an bilingual classroom. That's what's going on here, guys. They're not trying to make it a better education for the kids. They're trying to bring down this district. Do we have problems? You better believe it. Most of the high schools are overcrowded. We need more money for that, and they spend money for other things. That's a governance issue. That's an administrative issue that can be dealt with the electorate. But I want you to think about what Mr. Williams, who also did not mention he was a charter school operator in Dallas, was saying. He believes that the cap is not necessary. Yet I bet at his charter school system there are caps on enrollment. So as we go through these meetings, you're going to see me at almost every meeting, and I'm going to counter just about everything they keep telling y'all, because most of what they're telling you is misleading, incomplete, and basically, in some cases, a lie. It is not necessary to have a home rule charter, and yet they're telling people that is your only option, either DISD in its broken form or a home rule charter. There is a third way, and the teachers on this commission know what it is. Listen to the teachers. For those of you who recognize me, you know that for 16 years, I have been speaking before the board, working with the NEA of Dallas, trying to get this district and this city to listen to the teachers. I cannot imagine Parkland Hospital being run by a businessman. instead of doctors. I can't imagine a law firm being told by a plumber how to conduct their cases. And yet we are the last people on earth that people listen to in Dallas when it comes to it. And I want to remind you one more time, the people that he is claiming broke this system are the same people that they funded in the elections to get them elected to the board. So if you want to fix the problem, fix the people that are causing the problem to begin with. We do not need a charter in Dallas. I recommend that you make a series of recommendations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Because I tend to go on. My name is Willie Scherger. I've lived in Dallas for over 30. Willie Scherger, and I've lived in Dallas for over 30 years. Have 5 wonderful children, all of whom went through the DISD, and it served them well. And so you can get an education in Dallas. But I'm going to tell you that I do believe this commission has to write a constitution. I believe that's what the Home Rule law says. But that's not even the most important reason. The most important reason is over 40,000 residents of the city of Dallas asked you to do this. And so that's why you have to write a constitution. I also want you to keep a few things in mind as you gather your information and conduct your deliberations and write the constitution. The first is how much these 40,000 people appreciate what you're doing. You've already heard how good you are and how valuable this work is. I agree with that. More importantly, everyone in the metropolitan area owes you a great debt of gratitude for doing this because this is such an important work. It's such an important topic. The second thing you should remember is that improving the educational system is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Writing the new Constitution is very important, but it's only the first step. As we all know, words on a page are words on a page. They can be put on a shelf and forgotten and ignored. The way to create meaningful, sustainable change for the better is to create an environment in which talented, creative, and committed individuals can develop and implement a better system through action where the rubber meets the road, with teachers and students in the classroom over years and years. One of the problems we've had is we haven't been able to keep those talented, creative individuals at the levels within the system that can actually help affect that meaningful change. So I ask you to keep in mind that education is important to everyone in the city of Dallas. How do you create the type of education system in which those individuals can do the work necessary? You have to protect them from the individuals, you have to protect them from the whims and personal agendas of the few so that they can do their work over those years. I also think you have to involve city government because city government is the organization that's charged with bettering all aspects of our life in Dallas. To let them shrug their shoulders and say their hands are tied because they can't do anything is shortchanging our children. Thank you very much.
If you'd like to speak, just raise your hand and the microphone will come down the aisle to you. And there are translation services available. If anyone would rather speak in Spanish, we have a translator.
Hi, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Daniel Barrera, and I am with Texas Organizing Project, and we represent thousands of DISD parents, DISD taxpayers here in the Dallas County area. And there's no doubt about it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Dallas ISD is not teaching our students at the level they deserve. There are serious problems. However, I do want to emphasize that creating an unproven home rule charter is not a serious solution. And so I just kind of wanted to get that out there and to just emphasize that you, in fact, don't have to write a charter. If it is so that you feel that, okay, hearing from the community, which, by the way, it's wonderful that you all are taking the time, getting this input, and really being very fair in the process as well. I think that's wonderful. So there are things that we could be doing that I think seeing, for instance, what's working quite well in some of our better schools here in Dallas ISD. Let's take a look at that. Let's find out what is actually really contributing to their greatness, what's contributing to them operating at a high level, and see if that can be replicated throughout the district in other schools, elementaries, middle schools, high schools, etc. And so this is something that I think can certainly be done. I think that you all are doing a fantastic job once again. And just keep in mind that, you know, this is at its core what the other side is looking into, a governance issue, but they're forgetting about who's really, you know, our greatest asset here in Dallas ISD, which is our children. And so simply talking about ways to kind of take over and, you know, try to overtake the governance system at the expense of children is just, in my opinion, not right. So I just really do believe that let's take a look and see what's working well and explore other research-based solutions. Simply put, there is no research out there that shows how adopting home rule charter will in fact improve student performance in Dallas ISD. There's no scientific evidence of this, and so therefore it's just important to realize that you do not have to write a charter. You in fact can continue to hear from citizens and residents such as myself. I live here in Dallas, about, I'd say a couple of miles away from this high school, and I just really think that you all are doing wonderful work, and I appreciate you all being here this morning. Thank you.
Juanita Wallace, Dallas Branch NAACP President. Good morning, Commission. So glad you've come on this cool morning.
Will you please repeat your name slowly? Thank you.
Pardon?
Just your name.
Juanita Wallace. I want to say to the Commission, we appreciate your dedication. We appreciate everything you're doing. We want to say to you, however, you do not have to write a charter proposal. There are more than 40,000 citizens being represented by organizations that are saying you can do everything you need to do without writing the charter. And we want you to listen to them carefully as you go through the many districts and hear what they're saying. Because you have to remember that the 20,000 or 25,000 that attempted to sign the petition were not legitimate in the first place. So that's why they had to end up going and getting 40,000 more signatures or 20,000 more. So I say to you, do not write a charter. If the funds to bring DISD down were used to lift it up, can you imagine what kind of school district we would have? We say to you, don't write a charter. Let's replicate Rice Elementary School, Irma Rangel, Townview, and others that are excellent schools here in DISD. A changing in governance and, of course, voter suppression will present a problem for you and the district. Do not write a charter proposal. Thank you.
Hey, Dina. Good morning. My name's Leanne Ellis. I'm a former DISD trustee for this district. Good morning, Bob, Jerome, Mr. Ranger. I'm here because I'm adamantly opposed to this home rule, whatever you want to call it. Here's my problem. Public education is a democratic process. When we have a trustee who goes to homeowners associations 1 week and says DISD is doing well, he has the support of the superintendent. The next week he proposes homeroom charter with a bunch of gentlemen, folks that have been working behind the scenes. Where's the democratic process? This is all paid for with taxpayer money, but yet there seems to be a group of people that think they know more than we do. You know, it wouldn't have been too bad if perhaps Mr. Morath or Trustee Morath came before the board and said, I'd like to explore home rule. Let's have a discussion. Let's look into it. But the fact that it was done behind closed doors, the way it was brought forward to the public, and now on Saturday mornings, we have to come together to say, we're against it. Jeff, we're against home rule. Your district's against home rule. We want our voices to be heard. All of this time, all the time you have volunteered for this, all the time for Dino and staff to come to this meeting takes away from every discussion at the campus level. Every discussion takes away from the campus level from the children. So I'm here today. Gloria, you tell your neighbors and the kids and the parents, this doesn't do anything but promote a private discussion for public education. And that's why I'm here today, to get the word out. We appreciate your time and efforts. But Jerome, you know, the bottom line is the kids in the district. And what we're doing here is carrying the water for someone else. Thank you.
So I'm going to invoke a city rule here. All speakers, right, rather than addressing particular commissioners, you can use the chair generically or keep the comments generic. All right, we're all here equally, whether we were past trustees or not. So I appreciate the comments. I just really going to insist on meeting decorum here, where individual commissioners are not called out, or we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Who's next?
I'm Susan Scherger. I am a repeat speaker at this meeting. I saw you the last two meetings and wasn't planning to speak today. I have 5 children that graduated from DISD. I love them. They are the loves of my life. I take this very seriously. I also take public education very seriously because it quite literally saved my life. I would not be here today if it hadn't been for the attention, support, and encouragement that I got from public school teachers all across the eastern part of the United States, from Maine to Florida. I was a neglected, abused, and molested child, and when I went to school, it was a place that was safe, where I could be appreciated as a human being and not as an object. So I want you to know just how passionate I feel about public education. It's not theoretical that it saves children's lives for me. So I want you to think carefully as you listen to what everybody has to say about this, and I want to reiterate what a comment that was made at one of the first meetings by one of the seated members, that we look for data to support whatever suggestions are made, and I would ask that you look for data to support whatever comments are made. Characterizations of the motivations behind of people that have been in support of home rule have been thrown out there. Characterizations have not been thrown out in the same way for people that oppose it. And I hope that you will keep that in mind, because this shouldn't be a personal attack on any level. It should be about the children, because we need to save their lives. And I'll tell you too, they may be the person that saves your life at some date. When I'm 85 and I'm in the nursing home or wherever I am, I need somebody to read my med labels that can actually read well, and I promise they're not gonna, that CNA or the LVN is not gonna be a Hockaday grad. It's gonna be a public school grad from Dallas. And so I again would ask that you also consider, as a new idea, I've made a couple of suggestions and I've sent you some recommendations. I will also send you my list of core beliefs of what I think a community needs to bring to a conversation about public education. I think that that needs to, as I said before, passionately guide the decisions that you make. But I would also ask that as part of a charter or a constitution that you write, you think about it in those same terms that the Constitution of the United States draws from, where we firmly and just passionately avow what we believe to be true and necessary, that all children are created equal, that all children deserve and must have attention to their special needs and talents, because that's how you save children like me. Thank you.
My name is Martha Parks. I have been a Dallas ISD parent, PTA, and SBDM member and chair and district volunteer for over 20 years. I am convinced that home rule for Dallas ISD would not bring greater student achievement. It would not bring greater parent involvement or community satisfaction. Contrary to what has been said, the law does not require that you write a charter. The petition signers asked for improvement. They did not ask that you scrap the ISD. Ignore the talk about silly rules and mandates from Austin that home rule supporters say prevent us from providing an excellent education. Calculators, attendance, retests, none of these rules are the problem. Not once in 20 years have I blamed state rules for policy that adversely affected my children. I have, however, blamed the management of our district. I have called out administrations for writing policy and buying programs that were not researched or implemented correctly, and abandoned not because they were ineffective, but because someone else was currently in favor. I have PTA and SBDM notebooks that go back 20 years, and every 5 years they repeat themselves. Home rule won't change this. Home rule can only set up a framework, but that framework must by necessity be so broad that the recommendations you will hear in these forums can't be individually mandated. These recommendations are, almost without exception, possible now, but must be implemented by an administration that listens to the public and not corporate interests and the foundations that hand out money with strings attached. Those recommendations must be funded by a legislature in Austin that takes to heart its duty to the children of Texas. That said, we as a district should ensure equitable funding for all schools with an emphasis on reduced class size, review all programs and initiatives to evaluate their effectiveness, and follow the recommendations. Work with parents and the community at each campus to develop discipline priorities and procedures. Establish intervention pathways to prevent chronic and discipline offenders from failure and dropout. Develop a researched, properly implemented model for the bilingual ESL program with the goal of transitioning students to English-only classes within 3 years. Partner with existing preschool providers to train staff in child development with an emphasis on language development and English acquisition. Ensure that all students are given duty-free recess of at least 30 minutes with no exception for remediation, detention. Reduce paperwork and administrative workload for teachers. Develop a culture of respect and support for both teachers and students. The teacher in front of the class is the most important factor for each student. Take care of the teachers and we will take care of our students. What you as a commission may develop during your work can be an asset to the district. Realize that a charter is not a necessary part of that work, but only a distraction which will divert attention and resources away from the real work we need to do. Thank you.
My name's Daniel Miramontes. I've got a child here at Bryan Adams. I thought this was going to be a meeting. I was actually coming to listen, just like you folks are here to listen. It's more like a town hall meeting just for you guys to listen, so you'll have to excuse me. I don't mean that to sound rude. So, I've got a daughter here who's a junior. I've got a 7th grader that's at Gaston, who's at practice right now, and I've got a 4th grader that's at Reinhardt. So, if my daughter, when she goes off to college, if she doesn't go to, if we don't move to that small town, my other kids will come through Bryan Adams. The only thing I have to say, I guess, is that we're very, very pleased with the DISD school system. Every teacher that we've had at Reinhardt, at Gaston, at Bryan Adams that we've gotten to know a lot of those teachers. You know, we're not sitting in the classroom with the teachers, but we talk to them and engage with them. And, you know, we've been pleased with every single teacher that is taught here at DISD. So for those of you that are teachers and ex-teachers, I'm sure I would feel the same about you as well. I've read a little bit about the home rule. I'm still kind of in the middle, to be honest with you. I lean more, usually, you know, when there's a vote or something, I usually vote with the overwhelming minority. When something passes by 90%, I'm usually that 10%. So, but here I think I'm more with DISD in keeping the foundation of DISD intact. I look at DISD and really any public school system as, especially here at DISD, is 95%, or excuse me, 75% full. You know, I look at all the positives that are going on with DISD. Sure, there's negative things. It's a big district. We're the core of the Metroplex here in Dallas. So yeah, there's going to be negatives, and when they come up, they're going to be exposed, and they're going to be publicized, you know, especially with the newspaper. I've talked to the newspaper, and I've asked them to promote more of the good things that are going on with DISD. So to partner with DISD more so that we can show all the good things that are going on here at DISD. One of the things that my wife especially stresses to my kids before they leave is to do good and be good. That's your only job when you go to school. When you go to school, it's a job. And your only job at school, if you have a question as to what you should do, go back to what we tell you, to be good and do good. If you're not being good and doing good, don't do it. So that's what I think the parents have to stress too at an early level. And I know at Reinhardt especially, the principal there, and the old principal and the new principal, they're great principals, and they kind of stress that to the kids. And so I think that's helped us with our kids moving through the system. So we're happy with DISD. It's got a great foundation. You know, I appreciate you guys taking the effort to do what you're doing, and then, you know, maybe work with DISD more, and let's just make it stronger, because from my eyes, maybe not from your eyes, but from my eyes, I see it's 75% full. Thank you.
Do we have any other speakers? Okay.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Whitty. I spoke last time. I thought I was going to.
Could you speak a little louder?
I'm sorry.
And
My
tell
name
us
is Lisa Whitty. I actually live here at Bryan Adams is my daughter's home school. I'm actually a teacher in DISD. I've been teaching for 21 years. I spoke last time. Thought I'd be able to refrain from doing it this time, but here I am. Some more of my suggestions I have are ending programs that use fear tactics to get teachers to do things, better programs for special needs students to prepare them for the future. If we must use TEI, write a more fair system for teachers, including the general education teachers who include our special needs students in their classroom. Basing the score, using 35% of a general education teacher scores on STAR is impossible, really, if you have special ed students in your classroom, especially those students who are using modified curriculum. You've got kids that are on a modified curriculum. There is no more a tax M that's a modified assessment for those kids. You're asking a teacher to get kids who are reading on sometimes on the 9th grade, on a 4th grade reading level, you're asking them to get them to write a 9th grade level English paper and pass a 9th grade reading test. It's not fair. It's not fair to a teacher. I'm a special ed teacher. I accepted that when I took the job, but these gen ed teachers are welcoming our students in their classroom with open arms, lovingly. But who's going to want my special ed kids in their classroom if they know that their salary is tied to a test that those kids probably aren't going to pass? My other suggestion would be to have programs before preschool. There's a program called the Hippie Program. It's a wonderful program. It's low cost, but it works very effectively. That's people that are trained to go into the home and teach parents, low economic parents, to how to better work with their child at home, doing those things that all of us know to do. Read to your child at night, count with your children at night, all the little fun games that you can do. And now, like I said, it's low cost. You don't have to have teachers going into the home. You can train people with a high school education to go into a home of a young or low-income parent to help them know just the simple things they can do that will get their child ready for elementary school. My last suggestion would be teacher autonomy. Not time-consuming micromanaging mandates that have no effect on the actual learning going on in the classroom. And letting us teach. Stop telling us every little thing to do and letting us do what we were taught to do. I went to college. I have a college education. My degree is in elementary education and special education. I have 3 certificates. I recently passed the test and I can teach high school English now. All of these things, let me teach what I know. And that's it.
Good morning. My name is George Rangel. I'm with Alliance AFT, But I'm not here today to speak on behalf of Alliance AFT. I'm here to speak on behalf of my daughter that can't be here this morning. She's in a sorority, and they're having a meeting, and she's having a part in that today. But I'm here to speak because she just bought a house in this feeder pattern. Her decision to buy that house was based on the schools that were in the area. It's important to her, and therefore it's important to me, and that's why I'm here today. Public education is very important to us. I graduated from Spruce High School, went through Comstock, Burleson, that feeder pattern. Please take your time in making any decisions and think of the children that are in these classrooms. A charter does not need to be put in place now. There are things that can be done within the system now, and those that have money are pushing this, and those that don't have to come in here and fight and tell you, please don't do this, because we just need to work with the system that we currently have. Increasing class sizes is not a good option. Reducing faculty will not be a good option. I spoke with a teacher yesterday that left the ISD and went to a charter school. He brought his contract and said, wanted me to look at it. They do not follow the Chapter 21 TEA rules, and it's in the contract that he has. And he was telling me that they don't have any books, there aren't any electronics, there's not a lot of room, there's a lot of things that are missing in that charter school. And discussing this with my daughter, she says, these are just the problems that we already see in some of the charter schools that are taking place, and I don't want that for my children. And I guess I would be a future grandparent, I don't want to see that either. I want to see my children that have the opportunity to go through a public school, to have teachers that are certified, to have smaller class sizes. And right now, it's up to you folks to decide on this. I'm encouraging you, and I implore you to please take your time and think of the children that are in DISD and those that have the special needs that DISD provides right now. There's nothing that says that you have to write this. And I encourage you to please take that high road and not do anything that's going to harm the children that are in DISD right now.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Ann Sansone. I'm a longtime resident of Casa View. I also taught for DISD for 29 years in Oak Cliff, in East Dallas, and in my neighborhood in Casa View area. And there's just a few points I want to state. My main concern is that the general public and even many of our school teachers, because they're so immersed in in educating the children that stand and sit in front of them, they really don't have time to educate to educate themselves on what is behind all these issues. And so I just want to stress a few points. Some people thought that the Brown decision of 1954 foretold the end of a dual school system. Not so. Home rule could create a climate and a system that allows one sector to pick its students and kick out the ones it doesn't want. In my head is just a refrain of buyer beware and follow the money. Another point I would like to stress is that charter schools are managed to produce numbers, and they're supposedly supposed to produce better outcomes as measured by those numbers. But the overwhelming evidence is that they do not. The single most comprehensive study by researchers at Stanford University found that 17% of charter school students perform better than their public school counterparts, 46% know better, and 37% worse. Stanford's conclusions have been reinforced by virtually all of the serious research, including those at the University of California, the Economic Policy Institute, and the Policy Research from Mathematica. Diverting large sums, large flows of money from the public school to the private school sector creates a new profit-making venture that could be capitalized and transformed into stocks, derivatives, and leveraged securities. The pot has been sweetened by a 39% federal tax credit for financing charter schools construction that can double an investor's return in 7 years. I think that's a lot of the motivation in creating the climate in which charter schools could happen under home rule. And my final point, the central premise of the movement is that our public schools are in decline. That is not true. The public schools are working very well for most students. Contrary to popular myth, the scores on the no-stakes federal test, the NAEP, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, are at an all-time high for students who are white, Black, Hispanic, Asian. Graduation rates are also at an all-time high.
Thank you. And any of the speakers, we want you to know that that any data or documentation that you have that you would like to submit to the commission, that we have, we will obviously review that, and we will also make it available to the public on our website when the website is ready. So we want to be real transparent about all of the data and resources that you have that help us learn.
My name is Rosemary Rieger, and I am an organizer with North Texas Jobs with Justice. And I'm here to urge you not to write a home rule charter. The governance of DISD is not the problem. Education has been underfunded on a state level for many years, and this has led to programs being underfunded, cut, teacher positions being cut, schools being closed. And like the previous speaker already stated, there is no evidence that charter schools are better. No research has shown benefits over the public school system. And as we know, DISD has some of the best schools in the nation, right? We get rewards and awards for that. So we know DISD can, it works, but we also know, like other speakers have pointed out, that DISD needs to improve in things like universal pre-K, smaller class sizes, well-trained teachers, a well-rounded, diverse curriculum are all things that could benefit children and that have shown to improve the success of our children's education and development. And all these issues can be addressed without a home rule charter. Another point I'd like to make is that privatizing the independent school district is a danger to democracy, to public oversight, and accountability of our schools. And this is especially worrisome considering that the district has a budget of over 1.2 or probably even higher billion dollars. A home rule charter might very well also lead to teacher salaries and benefits being cut because there's no regulation for that. No minimum wage would be necessary, and I really think we need to protect our teachers. And for all these reasons, I oppose the home rule charter, and I urge you not to write a charter. Thank you.
there any other speakers today?
I came late to the party.
Okay.
I have a sick sister, so I cut over while I drop her off at the doctor, and I'll be having to run back and get her in a few minutes.
Well, you only get 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll be very brief. Can you just tell me, has anyone addressed the League of Women Voters chart, the comparison chart? If not, then I would like to bring up a few items that are on that comparison chart.
Can you please introduce your name?
I'm so sorry. My name is Jane Deeger. I just kind of expect that everybody knows me. That's sad, I'm sure. But I live in this community, and I'm proud to do so, and I also work for the school district. But I have just a few comments and questions about the Home Rule Charter and the what it can and cannot do, or must and must not do. There are a few things in this comparison chart that's put together by the group, the League of Women Voters, highly respected for being nonpartisan. Must have elected board members? No. Home Rule Charter would not require elected board members. And the people that set up to rule Home Rule might not even have to live inside the district, might not have a stake here. There are several other things that I have concerns about. Able to set requirements on the governing board, such as college degree, experience, and specific skills. We don't require those things in our governance now, but Home Rule might. The superintendent must have earned the superintendent certificate outlined in Texas law. That is not a requirement under the way that the Home Rule Charter law is set up. Able to start and move the start date of school. We don't do that right now. We're not able to do that, but Home Rule Charter could. Must adhere to the state minimum salary for teachers, which is currently $27,300. Teacher appraisal requirements, professional development requirements. No, Home Rule Charter would not be, under the way it's written, required to do so. Must have teacher contracts, including hearing and notice requirements for termination and non-renewals. No, Home Rule Charter would not be required to do that. Must have teacher planning and preparation time and duty-free lunch. That's required under our code right now, but no, Home Rule Charter would not be required to handle that. Students must take art, music, and PE classes. Currently, we do require that. No, Home Rule would not. Must have talented and gifted, CATE, which is Career and Technology Education, and PEG grant and military education. No, that would not be required under Home Rule. I'm running out of time. Must adhere to elementary class size limits. Somebody already mentioned that. No. Must adhere to student grievance process as described under Texas law. No. Must adhere to Texas law on student discipline, which includes requiring removal of a student who is a registered sex offender from the regular classroom. No. Must be required to have a dropout prevention plan. No. Must have committees, SBDM, to make recommendations? No. And that's just some of the things that are in this comparison chart that I'd love to hear responses to at some point.
And we will put that League of Women Voters document on the website. And seeing no more hands? Okay, we got one more hand.
Good morning. I had my coffee. Good morning. I'm apologizing for being a little late, but we
State your name, please.
First of all, my name is Baldwin Hamilton, and It's About the Kids Mentoring Group. We work in conjunction with the schools. We deal with at-risk youth and teach them anger management, conflict resolution things. So it's very important to us as well that I guess I'm for the school, for the kids. So I just want you to take yourself out of it, take politics out of it, take white, black, green, or purple out of it, and let's go with It's About the Kids, because really that's all that matters here. I heard the young lady say that it's going to take out, that this program won't include art, gym. To be honest with you, We need those things. Our kids suffer. And I try to work with the Park and Rec program to supplement some of the things that DISD is not doing. But we're running out of gas. We got to put some fuel back in the system for our kids. And all I'm asking you to do, I didn't come here with no political agenda other than the fact that I just want to see, I got 3 boys at Conrad. I couldn't let them go to Madison because Madison don't offer anything. We live in the South Dallas area. Lincoln and Madison just don't offer anything that my kids want. So I had to make a conscious decision and ask if we could move our kids to another district for educational reasons. So I'm asking you, I'm begging you, take yourself out of it. Put art back in these schools. Put enough gym time in here so these kids could work out something and stop working, and the obesity level would go down. Take the junk foods out of these schools. Put the structure back in it. Both sides have a good argument. There's a compromise. Take ideas from one side and the other side, y'all work together, but do not give away our kids because you want to make a point. Our kids are more important than that. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we take a break.
Okay. If there are no more speakers, we're going to adjourn this meeting, and we will have another meeting this afternoon at Seagoville High School. Middle school, sorry. Middle school. Middle school.
Again, before we formally adjourn, I want to thank everyone. Okay. Yeah, hang on. The street address, hang on. Street address is 950 Woody Road. Okay, Mike, thank you. Okay. Yeah. The street address is, this next meeting at 1 p.m. will be at Seagoville Middle School Auditorium at 950 Woody Road in Dallas, and that, for your navigation system, is 75253. Did everyone hear that? 950 Woody Road and zip code 75253 in Dallas. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.